CNN is out with a shocking report that details the corruption happening within the Trump administration. It implicates Donald Trump. It implicates Eric Trump. And it shows that Donald Trump is not working in government to help you or me. He's working in government to make himself richer, more powerful, and to help his family. And what I want to do is I want to kind of give you the background of how we got to where we are, show how Donald Trump is manipulating the government to essentially bully countries and companies into working with him and his company. And then we're going to go into this really shocking report. But first, let's go into how we got here and how we know that Donald Trump is someone who can be bought.
US President Donald Trump is under fire again, this time for accepting a Boeing 7478 nicknamed a palace in the sky from the Qatari government. The plane, decked out like a five-star hotel with wings, is supposedly a temporary Air Force One. Ethic watchdogs are raising alarm bells, with some branding the situation as a blatant violation of the US Constitution's emoluments clause.
So Donald Trump took that bribe from the Qatari government. He actually didn't even take it. What he did originally was he asked them for it. And the Qatari government was like, all right, let's give him this $400 million plane that is a huge cost to us and offload it on this fool. But one of the reasons why this matters is because, as going to be laid out here next, Donald Trump has not relinquished control from his companies. Like at least in the first term, they tried to pretend like he like wasn't involved, but there's no even pretext for that now.
The real danger here is that this other country, Qatar, appears that it is going to be giving him this very valuable gift, this huge luxury airplane. And that when he makes decisions or about trade deals, that rather than making those decisions based on this analysis of what's in the American people's interest.
So Donald Trump is focused on Qatar's interest. He's focused on his own interests. He's focused on his business interests. He's not focused on your interests. And this is really troubling because what's happening is Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. are traveling across the world, making billion-dollar deals for Trump's business that he still owns, still controls, while he's levying tariffs on countries depending upon whether or not he likes them.
Off the top here, that Trump comes into office here in the second term with even more conflicts of interest than he had in his first term. And he hasn't divested from anything in his second term here, so he's continuing to visit properties.
His factory, clothing from some of the world's major brands, is coming to life. And it's workers like Nguyen Ngoc An who've benefited from Vietnam's boom in manufacturing. But now President Trump is threatening 46% tariffs on Vietnam.
It's hard to believe with any sort of tariff American workers could ever compete with that.
But that's the whole point of these tariffs. The whole point of the tariffs, and we're going to see here next with this CNN report, is that Donald Trump is doing this for leverage because he puts pain on these countries and then he shows up and says, well, hey, how about you build me a golf course for $1.6 billion? What if we did a deal? He makes money and then he relinquishes the tariffs. And here's that really shocking report.
Now to our other big story tonight, the Trump family cashing in big time. President Trump's son, Eric, is now arriving in Vietnam. In just hours, he will be breaking ground on a new $1.5 billion golf resort there. This is according to Reuters, and the billion-dollar investment is front page news there. And the headlines are quite clear about what this is. Here's one: U.S. President's son, Eric Trump, to attend groundbreaking ceremony. You saw the first two words there, U.S. President. And then we actually went to take a look at the website from the Vietnamese group involved in the deal. Look at the picture that they have posted about the deal. It's interesting. You see in the center, President Trump. Are you ready for this? I'll tell you about this picture. About a month before Election Day, this picture was put out. This is President Trump taking time from the campaign trail to appear with his son, Eric, at the signing of the deal to build golf courses and hotels in Vietnam. Time from the campaign trail to sit in the middle and to sign that deal. And this golf course is one of several major projects Trump org now has in Vietnam, including hotels and towers. Reuters reports Eric Trump, as part of this trip, is going to go to Ho Chi Minh City this week, where Trump org is now considering plans to build a luxury Trump Tower. City officials treating Trump to a dinner party, expected to accompany him as he tours all sorts of upscale areas. And while Eric Trump is in Vietnam receiving a king-like welcome, it may come as no surprise that back here in the United States, Vietnam is a high priority for a trade deal for Team Trump. Officials from Vietnam are reportedly in Washington for a second round of trade talks. And Vietnam has been singled out by President Trump directly. Here he is on what he calls Liberation Day, the day he announced his trade war.
Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff.
So that was on April 2nd. 2 days later passed, mere 48 hours since Liberation Day. And what country did Trump again publicly single out? Vietnam. On April 4th, he writes, just had a very productive call with To Lam, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, who told me that Vietnam wants to cut their tariffs to zero if they're able to make an agreement with the U.S. So Vietnam is actually doing exactly what makes sense here. Does it have a choice but to embrace Trump's son, to put up a Trump building, however many he wants, golf resort, whatever? Did it have a choice but to allow Elon Musk to launch Starlink satellite service in Vietnam? I mean, enriching the Trump family is a very small price to pay when Vietnam is facing those tariffs of 46% if it doesn't make a deal by the end of June. It is a very small price to pay for Vietnam when their exports to the United States account for 30% of their entire gross domestic product. So a third of their entire economy is relying on the U.S. They know where their bread is buttered, and Eric Trump is in the city now. Now to Congressman Ro Khanna, Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, also in Armed Services. The White House is saying Trump has nothing to do with this. He is at the signing of the deal for this a month before Election Day when they posted it with Eric Trump and the head of the Vietnamese group. There it is, right? Big U.S. flags, by the way, behind him. Very presidential, in fact, it looks like, a month before he won the White House again. What do you think about the fact that Eric Trump is now in charge of this $1.5 billion deal, tower, golf course in Vietnam?
Well, look, you don't have to be an ethics expert or a lawyer or on the Oversight Committee to know that this is just wrong. America never used to be for sale. No president in my lifetime has done something like this, where they are negotiating the tariff deal on a country based on whether that country is going to invest in their family's businesses. Well, Aaron, as you reported, Trump and Eric Trump don't even have to say anything. I mean, that's the system they've set up, nor does anyone in the Trump administration. They know that other governments are going to try to curry favor to get favorable terms. So if you're the Vietnamese government, the Communist Party, you're thinking, well, what's $1.5 billion when it could save us billions of dollars in getting the 46% tariff removed?
Yeah, I will say, Congressman, one thing about this that appears to be the most disturbing is this is one of those basic things as a journalist, you can just say it's wrong. And it would seem most people would know this is wrong.
It is wrong. It's corrupt. It's outrageous. And I absolutely know that a vast majority of Americans are not into this shit. The Republicans started to attack Donald Trump about the Qatar plane. And this is before all these reports started coming out showing that the tariff policy isn't there to bring back American prosperity or start Liberation Day. It's to line Donald Trump's pockets and to fill his bank account. So I guarantee you that the American people are not going to like this. American people have, I mean, we do try every other option until finding the right one. But I will say the American people have an innate sense of justice and they have an innate sense of unfairness. And so when Donald Trump is doing this and when he is manipulating the market to make money and everything else, the American people know that is wrong. And so it is our responsibility to make sure that we point this out, because the American people need to know what is happening. They need to know it's wrong. And they need to know that we can do something about it. And my hope is that when we get Democrats in office, impeachment is the next step.